Hey, it works.
It works. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I am good. I am in a podcast studio that we're building. I've been doing these lives in different areas of our office, so I'm giving this one a try today.
Awesome. It looks great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we got some secret stuff cooking up over here that we'll be talking about soon. But
Love it.
today is about you. So we are super excited that you're here. Do you want to just get right into it and explain
Sure.
maybe a little bit about what you're doing right now, but then take us back in time and everyone wants to hear the story of how the ignorant filmmaker, which we all have been, I feel like I still am, right? Getting to the point of directing Tubi original films and fun things like that. So, yeah, who are you and what's
Okay.
going on here?
Who am I? Well, my name is Emily. I've been a filmmaker for over 20 years now, which is really crazy to say that. I started when I was 17, officially started when I was 17. I was working with Michael Mann when I was 18.
Wow.
And if you don't know who Michael Mann is, he is one of my favorite directors. He's done Last of the Mohicans, um, Miami Vice. That was the one I worked with him on was
Oh, I
Miami
was gonna
Vice.
ask which one. That's cool.
Yeah. And so it was really kind of like in that moment when I was 18 that I knew that I wanted to be a film director because I didn't have social media at that time when I started. Like there was nothing for me to kind of look up to figure out how do I do this. So I started that way, and then I got into music videos. So I started directing and DPing music videos for like up and coming artists that were coming through South Florida. And from there, I started optioning books. Significance has been a project that I've been working on a long time, and we're finally getting that ready to make. Honestly, just like putting myself out there, things really started to kind of pick up when I started to brand myself on social media, and that was like 7 years ago. So when I started to kind of grow my audience and started to put my things on social media, that's when opportunities were kind of opening up for me. And that's how Tubi actually reached out to me 2 years ago, was because of them seeing some clips from my first feature film I did called River. Um, and that's really how it kind of all started. And that's why I think social media is so important for filmmakers to kind of put ourselves out there. It's like our resume now,
Yeah.
you know?
No,
Yeah.
that's really cool. And we'll definitely want to get into some of the social stuff because that is such a prevalent and almost, I don't want to say controversial, but just interesting topic in filmmaking and stuff. So definitely want to get into that. There was a lot of questions, and I hate just popping them off. I like to try to incorporate them into kind of the flow of this. And I know one of the questions was, how did you know you were ready to do your first feature film? And what I want to expand to that is take us back to this River movie, your first feature.
All right.
You had obviously been working in the industry. Explain us, at that time, what made you go, I'm ready to make a feature film mentally, and then also kind of logistically and how that got produced and ended up getting made.
So, um, I guess it all started, I filmed it during the pandemic, actually, my feature. So it was one of those things that, I was tired of being told I didn't have enough experience to direct a feature film. Like, I was being told left and right with a project that I had, you just don't have enough experience. You have a lot of short films and docu-series and things like that under your belt, but you don't have that feature. And I was like, okay. So when the pandemic hit, my best friend Mary and I decided to do a fun short film over Zoom, and that was like the beginning stages of River. So we did this 2 minute short over FaceTime that, well, it was over Zoom, and I filmed it, and it just got a huge response to it. So I was like, okay, well, when things open up, we should film the actual short film version in person of River. And so in May we of 2020, we I drove to North Carolina because she was in North Carolina for the lockdown. She left LA to go kind of be out of that scene. She was
Yeah.
trapped. I drove up with my brother and his now wife and a couple filmmakers that were in North Carolina, and we shot River. And then we were at the cusp of all like the festivals and things like that. So we were getting into everywhere basically. And then 3 months after the festival stuff was happening with the short film of River, I got funded to do the feature. A couple people that I know were like, "Hey, we're bored. Let's make a movie." And they threw me a lot of money actually to kind of pick up, and it's low budget still, but it was enough to, like, it was a lot of money considering, like, hey, let's get a small team together and make a feature. And so we did that. We all camped out in the woods in September. We had a COVID compliance officer that ate up most of the budget. And and it was just my best friends and I in the forest making a movie. We shot it in 9 days. Um, and then because the short did really well and ended up going on Dust and doing really well on Dust, that the sci-fi platform, we got distribution for the feature. So not even within a year, we had the feature out on Apple TV and Amazon and everywhere, and that was like kind of like what it started. And I think I was so ready to kind of do it mentally. I was tired of being told no. I was tired of so many things, and my best friends and I felt so comfortable. It was just all of us together. I felt safe. It was a very safe, like, environment with all of us to be able to be creative and have fun. And it was the best time of my life, to be honest. Like, there was nothing better. I look at so many things that we went through, and yeah, there's lessons and things you learn along the way, but I don't regret any of it. I also shot and directed it at the same time. Um, it was a blast.
Now, walk us back when you got like funding. Did you have to self-produce and wear the main producer hat on this, or were you able to get a producer on this? And did they tackle like finding that funding, or how did?
I got the funding.
Gotcha. Okay. Did you have to pitch
So
for it, or was it kind of like you found these people from the short and relationship?
no, they were friends. They were all in real estate, and some were
Wow.
lawyers. People that I've known, and they're like, "We see you working really hard. Let's do something fun." They wrote it off as like a tax write-off, and we made a movie. Like, literally, that was it. Like, the ages one, they were just people that I've known over the years that I didn't even ask them. They were like, "Oh, interested in the short film that I was doing." I showed it to them, and then all the stars aligned, and they're
Yep.
like, "Let's do this." And I was like, "Okay." So I owe them so much because they gave me my start
Yeah.
to the world of finally making feature films. And I love grounded sci-fi, and it's weird, and it was fun, and we had the best time doing it. So, like, that's honestly how it all kind of started for me.
Wow. And then so you had already started like some of your social branding before this time, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then talk about the feature film, what that led to, but also you're saying social played a huge part in maybe this Tubi connection. So after this feature film wrapped, got distribution, you're looking for the next thing. How did we get from that moment to first Tubi original?
Honestly, so I mean, there were so many things that were kind of rolling around. Learn Filmmaking and Filmmakers World here on Instagram, they reposted a picture of me shooting a docu-series about whiskey, and that's what kickstarted everything for me. I woke up one morning and I had over 40,000 followers overnight.
Wow.
And I've never experienced anything like that. And it was really overwhelming, to be honest, because for the longest time, people are like, "Are you just a social media model holding a camera? You're not really a
Mm.
filmmaker." And I was like, I was literally just doing my thing. And I posted a picture because I thought it was cool. And then I woke up to all of this. Like, I didn't search out Filmmakers World or learn filmmaking. Like, they were just getting started too, but they already had an audience. So it was just like this wildfire for the next couple years. And then I became a brand ambassador for Lumix Panasonic. And then I started
Mm.
talking at NAB and different places for them. And all of that just helped. So Tubi actually, one of the head of original content 2 years ago, sent me an email and then also sent me a DM. He was trying to get a hold of me, and I for whatever reason, I was like, "Is this real?" Like, I didn't believe it, but he asked to have a meeting with me. And I thought it was just going to be this cute little, like, meet and greet, because when you go to studio meetings, they just kind of like, I've met with Warner Brothers before. Like, I've met with different, like, Lakeshore Entertainment when they were around. Like, it's a meet and greet. You go, you
Hmm.
sit down, you talk to people, right? But I had no idea that when I went to Fox Studios in LA, when I went in there, that I was going to be sitting with a VP and like everybody. And so I literally just sat there and I was like, this is really interesting. And we just all vibed. And then they sent me a script the next day, which was Married to a Baller. And they brought me on. I met Tressa, who she had a slate of movies with Tubi. And so they paired me with her. And then the rest is history, and we filmed that one, and that one came out November of last year, hit number one, and weirdly enough it's trending again right now.
Oh yeah, I saw your post the other day. Yeah.
It's so crazy. I was like, how the heck is it trending again? It's wild. And then we just shot the sequel the end of May this year. We wrapped in June. We're out of post now, and we
Okay.
should be getting the release date. It's going to be coming out this year. I don't know if it's November or December yet when it's dropping, but
Gotcha.
that's literally how it all happened. And it was because his name was Nelson. He had original content there. He used to be with Netflix. Um, he saw clips of River being made and my work, and he reached out to me, and like I owe him so much gratitude for him seeing something in me.
Yeah, no. Well, I know I want to get into the sequel soon, but a question I have is someone who I just did my first feature very similar to how you did the river thing, right? That and where you control everything. I'm sure is it's your script, your thing. And what I've always wondered is, dang, after going through that experience, I don't know how I would handle like doing the director for hire thing and like here's a script, here's everything's kind of set up, just be now it'd be so cool to come in like, oh, just be the artist and not worry about those things. But I would always imagine I would have to love that script. Explain going from doing a solo film where you, I'm assuming, wrote the script and were in control of every aspect of the story and almost probably even producing, to studio bringing you in, director for hire, there's already a script. Was there freedom for you to play with the script? What was the creative freedom like compared to having all that control and now working with real producers and stuff? What was that transition like?
Honestly, it was really wonderful. Um,
Nice.
I didn't have to think about financing. I didn't have to think about anything other than my job, which was to be a director, and it was it was great. I think both taught me a lot. It's been really easy working with Tubi, Heather and Ashla and the team there. They're super fantastic. They really gave me the freedom to have fun with the script. I gave notes, they implemented notes. We went back and forth. They very much trusted my process of being creative. And even on set, they were only there a couple days, and they're like, "You got this." And so it was just really nice to feel the trust they have in me as a filmmaker. I know a lot of people don't get those kind of opportunities of being able to have your voice in it. But this story in particular was such a hard story to kind of tell. It was about domestic violence and so many different things that were kind of spiraling. So I had to be very um, I want to say like careful, but I was very sensitive to
Mhm.
everything that we were telling. So I didn't want to put too much of my own stamp on a project that needed a different perspective as
Mm.
well. So I was very sensitive to a lot of things and making sure that I was held accountable along the process of making this movie. Um, so yeah, but I mean, other than and just like those things, like Tubi honestly gave me the reins, and Tressa and everybody was like, "Go do it, have a great time." Um, I edit too, so I edited the movie, and it was really fun to kind of be a part of that process. Like I've honestly had a wonderful experience with Tubi, and Tressa and everybody at Megamind. Like everybody has been so wonderful to me. So
That's awesome. And people
I'm
are
very
asking
grateful.
what's the movie, guys? It's called Married to a Baller or Balla, right?
Yeah, Bala. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, on Tubi, and it shouldn't be hard to find. It's trending right now, so yeah, definitely check that out. And just back on the scripting, so I remember I heard you speak at Sunscreen in the directors panel. And I remember you mentioning that the script was a little personal to you, and I'm assuming that's what drawed you in. When you're getting an opportunity like this and you're sitting with producers and you're like, hey, someone wants me to direct a feature film, are you at all nervous when they give you that script? Like, what if I don't love this script, but I love this opportunity? Like, were you ever worried about that balance? It sounds like this script was really personal for you and you did enjoy it, but was that ever something to consider? I've thought about that. Like, if I ever got that opportunity, what if the opportunity is great, but I don't like this story? I wouldn't be able to put my stamp on something I wasn't like in love with, you know?
No, I hear what you're saying. So when I had the Tubi meeting and I was sitting there with Heather and Nelson, um, they asked me a bunch of questions. And I, for whatever reason, I got personal and talked about how I went through uh, an abusive situation in my ex marriage, and the things that I went through as a mother, and all of these things. And so that's why they paired me with this particular script, was because of my backstory that I shared with them. I don't even know why I shared the story, but like we got on this topic and we were just talking, and so like there was at one point one of the producers were crying and I was like, I didn't want to make anyone cry, like, but we were talking and we got super personal.
Mm,
And they sent me the script the next day, and it was a very hard script for me to read, just because it was like, wow, I'm going to go down this avenue, and I'm going to
wow.
tell something that is close to home in a lot of
Yeah.
different ways. So for me, I will not, even if the opportunity is really great, I won't tell a story if I don't think I could do it justice, if I don't feel like a connection to it, because then it will show I don't have a connection to the
Yeah.
project. And I don't want to waste my crew's time and my cast and the investors. If I'm not excited about it, I don't, because I get offers all the time from different people with scripts and stuff, and if I just don't feel that connection, I thank them, but I don't take it.
Mm. Now, have you ever had the reverse situation where there was a great script, but just not the proper pieces in place at this stage in your career to get on that project?
So the project that I'm working on right now, called Significance, it's been a 13-year journey.
Wow.
So when I, like, the thing is, like, and I met with studios and everybody, and they want the project, but they wanted other directors to do it because I didn't have the experience when I first approached them.
Mm.
We were even at a point right before the pandemic going with Morgan Freeman's company
Wow.
to like make it a TV series. And then boom, the pandemic hit, right? And I was like, why? So it was just, there's so many things. And but I held out because I believe that that's a story that I want to tell, and putting the right people in place to help tell the story is really
Hmm.
important. So I have a really wonderful producing team behind it. We have so many, we're casting it right now, which I'm really excited about, the cast that's joining this project. And I can't wait for, the announcements of that to come out.
Yeah. Wow.
So, it's just,
Nice.
I think, if you believe in something, don't sell out for short-term gratification. Hold out, um, hold out, because this is definitely not a sprint. It's a marathon,
Hmm.
a triathlon, more like it. Sometimes we're running through non-paved roads. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, I say, hold out and stay true to your voice. And I just knew, like, I feel like as filmmakers, we're all a little bit crazy in the sense of we believe in ourselves that much to keep
Hmm.
going, even when there's so many obstacles in the way, you know?
Yeah, no, it can be intense. Well, it's cool because I would say it sounds like, hey, you did a feature that was pivotal in taking the next step and finding, the To Be Originals, because that was like more the resume side. But as you alluded to, social media was really the key contributor in people finding you. So walk us back in time through that and just like what your perception of social media was as it relates to filmmaking before you started getting into it, and then as you've been getting into it, what other opportunities, even outside of getting like the awesome gigs we all want to get, just social media can open all sorts of doors. So what's your social media journey been like?
So I see one question of like posting selfies or things with friends and normal content, does it diminish people's perception?
Good question.
It didn't even have to do with like a selfie. It was it was anything. Like people were critiquing everything. It could be me on set with everyone behind me, and they still thought I was just an influencer taking a picture there and posting it.
Hmm.
And so it didn't matter what I was posting, you know. And I want to say for the longest time too, I don't know the anger some people had, but they were going on my IMDb page and changing the bios of my films
What?
and posters, and they were writing reviews. Like they were purposely putting 1-star reviews saying just because she can operate a camera doesn't make her a filmmaker. Like that was the reviews that they were posting all
On a
over
feature film
IMDb.
that you've made.
Yes.
Make it make sense.
Oh, but they learned real quick on Married to a Baller when they try to do that there. Like the studio does not play with anybody trying to change their movies, let me tell you. Like, so that's when a lot of things actually changed for me in a positive way because they had my back.
Mm.
When it came to some just harassing, um, number one fans, I like to call them, you know, that just get so angry, you know, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, they love me so much, you know? So I would say it didn't even matter what I was posting. It was people were just upset about it. And I'm like, I'm literally just being me and people are angry. And I'm like, I can't do anything about it. It messed with me for a while. Like it really got in my head. But then after just thinking about it, I'm like, I have no control over what anyone thinks or what they want to do. And so I'm like, you know, cool.
Hmm.
Keep putting my views up then, you
Yeah.
know? So like at the end of the day, that was what it is. So yeah, that was, um, I don't know if that answered that question, but
No,
yeah,
well, I'd really love to
unfortunately,
go on take two different angles. One, first is, I mean, I think almost any filmmaker, content creator, anyone living in that world deals with some level of that, right? Like there's kind of this
yeah.
disrespect from, I don't know if you call them the old guard or filmmakers that just were established prior to social. I don't know, but there seems like, oh, those are content creators, these are filmmakers. But I would imagine you also being a woman, an attractive woman, is probably on the very brunt front end of that because those extra two factors I just mentioned, right? I mean, would you say that's a heavy contributor to why your hate is
Yeah.
probably significantly stronger than than other people's?
It was rough, you know, and I don't think like I'm God's gift of everything, but like it didn't matter. Like people had a problem and they're like, oh, things are, it was either I wasn't working or things were handed to me or like, and I was like, nothing was ever handed to me. I had to work just as hard as anybody else trying to make something happen for themselves. But the difference of me trolling and is actually me going out and doing it, you know, and like
Mm-hmm.
putting my energy and being positive and working towards the things that I wanted to work towards. And I didn't give in to being angry that people were doing well around me because there's plenty of work for everybody. You know, it's like especially like I create my own work half the time. And
Yeah.
so I don't have energy to sit there and worry about what X, Y, and Z are doing because I'm just out here trying to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, I think there's just, I mean, this industry, it's so competitive, it's so hard, it's so intense. I would argue because a lot of us artists, filmmakers are trying to get things going in the wrong way because there's a lot of business things that make things happen unrelated to the art, and we need to understand that. But I think then when people see people on social, they assume, oh, like they're getting it because of that. And then again, when like it's, I can see why, you know, the bigoted people like, oh, they're just jealous. They see an attractive female holding a camera getting on set and they tell them, oh, I'm better. That's not fair. And it's like, guys, it doesn't matter if it's that situation or anything. Like everyone at the end of the day has to have some luck involved. And like you said, we create our own opportunities. Like I know I've never taken anybody's gig on any set because the only stuff I've done is stuff I had to manufacture myself and get going. And then whatever that leads to, it's because of that hard work. So yeah, it's just funny people will hate on anything these days, and especially in this industry. It's unfortunate, but what I think is important, unrelated to the trolls and the people that just want to hate on you for out of jealousy, the actual perception, like at the real levels of the industry that matter. Have you ever wondered about that in social? Like someone like, oh, the people assuming, oh, that's on so. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because there is
Yeah.
still that
I
unrelated to
mean,
the
I
hate.
get like I got that, and then I had Jeremy uh Piven. Is it Jimmy Piven? Jeremy Piven? The Entourage guy?
Oh yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
so.
don't know why my mind is blanking right now, but yeah, he sent me a DM and says, "Wolf, I like what you're doing." So I
Nice.
randomly will get DMs from just all kinds of industry people being excited for the things that I'm doing and telling me they want to work with me. So I think that also, just as much as there's bad, there's also so much good. And I think there's more good than bad half the time. And I still just put my head down and I still go on.
Hmm.
So I still think social media is important.
Oh yeah. Are there any? How would you recommend filmmakers go about social? You know, because there are some filmmakers that actually are like what those people are describing, right? There is a camp of, I think, filmmakers that it's like they're kind of doing social more than filmmaking, and that causes a lot of this debate, right? So what would you, if someone is a filmmaker first and ultimately that's their goal, like you, but they want to incorporate social into their branding, would you say is the best way to go about it if you were starting from scratch today?
I would say just take people along the ride with you. Like share BTS of you on set working and incorporate the things you're already doing and just put it on social like that. That's what I did. And I think, everyone has a different voice and what's going to work. And for me, it was always the core base of my audience is I'm a mom, you know, and a woman in the film industry, and I've always been very honest about the journey and the struggles, and also talking about how making movies, like, you can sometimes fall into depression,
Mm,
and like those are things that I never knew was something possible. Like, I didn't know you could fall into depression after making a movie. And then figuring out doing other hobbies to balance that out. So like that's why most of my audience is there, is because we talk about those kind of topics. And
mhm.
like I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm very honest. And someone asked, how do I balance being a mom and in the industry? I
That was
mean,
my next.
sometimes like one thing takes more than the other, like sometimes I'm more in mom mode, sometimes I have to work. And so like, I'm working and I have such a great foundation of people around me. My mom is such a huge support and helps
Mm,
me a lot with my son and making sure he gets to places when I'm on set. I'm fortunate that the last two features we actually shot in Miami. So like it was great to be able to come home, and my mom was able to pick up my son and bring him home to me, and it was it's getting easier as he's getting older. He's 13. He's actually
mhm.
currently in his room right now, so he's like quiet for now. Um but no, it's been great. And even his dad and I co-parent well, and so like his dad like helps out too now. And so like there's a lot of growth. And I'm not saying like I'm figuring it out as I go. Like I honestly I can't give a guideline of do this, this, and this, and this, because to every family they'll have their own battles and how things work.
Yeah. Yeah. If this is too personal, do not answer. Someone had asked, like, is dating hard being a female in the film industry? And I think they meant it more in the sense of just being busy, which can apply to all genders, obviously.
Oh
So,
man. I mean, dating period. Like, I mean, I've dated in the industry, I've dated period. Like I've been in long relationships. I was in a relationship for 6 years. We broke up like 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And now it's like, it is scary out here. So like, I'm just focusing on work, and I'm super passionate. I still believe in love and connection and everything. So I'm a very all in or not kind of person.
mm,
So
mm,
I feel like anybody, if you want to make time for something, you will. So like I make time for it. Like I make time if there's someone that I think the connection is really cool and I want to explore it. I make time.
yeah. Someone was asking, is the movie only on Tubi? Yeah, it's a Tubi original, guys. It's only on Tubi, right?
Yes. So Married to a Baller is a Tubi original, and those are only on Tubi.
Nice. I want to talk to you about the Florida film industry landscape. I'm here in Tampa. You're down there, West Palm, Miami area, correct? Right?
Yeah.
And you shot both of these Tubi originals in that area. I'm kind of thinking filmmaking in Florida is about to be on the uptick very significantly the last couple of years. I know I saw the Film Commission panel at Sunscreen 2 is really starting to ramp things up. Are you hearing anything like that too, or what are you seeing?
So I know that each county has tax incentives right now. So Broward County has their own incentives, and so does Miami and such. So like there is more films coming to South Florida, I know, because of these little pockets of incentives that are happening.
Hmm.
Um, I'm seeing a lot more work here. I mean, it's kind of nice to be able to do it here. The next two movies, though, one's going to be in Alabama and the other one's going to be in Georgia
Okay.
or possibly Canada. But when I do get the opportunities to be here, it's nice. So I do see like a shift.
Yeah, no, I feel like, and this might be a little more in the commercial space than like the feature film space, although I think that's upticking too. But it just feels like it's a really good time to be in Florida, and the market's going to really start to change. So I'm definitely excited about that. Now, when you're talking about the films that are going to these other places, I'm assuming that at those budget levels, right, a lot of those location decisions are based on those incentives and stuff. So, are you involved in some of that? Decision making? If you are, maybe walk us through what pre-production's really like and how you might want a location, but you have to consider the incentive and the financial aspect of is it realistic to go to that location, and explain that if that's been a thing you've dealt with a lot.
Yeah. So for me, it's also story. Like, what does the story call for? Like, I really like to focus on making sure that the integrity of the story is told correctly. I'm not going to
Hmm.
just film it somewhere to film it somewhere. Like, I hate that. I'm
Yeah.
a very much attention to detail in pre-production, and I care about my locations, you know? So, Georgia was chosen because incentives and also location wise, like what I like. Um, Also, like my next film called Salt Flats that we're going to be doing relatively soon. We will be in the Salt Flats of California for like a couple days, and then we're going to be filming in Alabama the rest of the movie.
Mm.
So the incentives are there, and the money's coming from there. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like wherever the money is coming from, and if it makes sense for the script, I will film there,
Well, so most of our guests have been, we've been talking about a lot of producing stuff lately, but like you're a director, so I want to get into some of the art stuff and like your process. So you read a script, or maybe go back to River in the case of writing a script, knowing you're going to direct the movie, writing, directing, or even after, when you're in the mode of like, okay, shot listing and putting the scene together, what's your process like? How do you see the movie unfolding in your head and start getting fired up about creating it?
For me, so with the new project that I just wrote called Salt Flats, like I was really inspired by music. So like I love writing to music. And it kind of really sets like the tone and the vibe of like
Yeah.
how I see these scenes play out. How do I want my characters to feel? And visually what I'm looking for. And I'll have something in mind, of like what I kind of want it to look like. And I
Hmm.
kind of go from there. But when it's a script, like, for River, for instance, I wrote it for wanting to film it in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Because I know that my actors, they all left LA and they were all in North Carolina. So like I wrote it kind of around that kind of vibe so that we could do it correctly. But for me, music plays a huge role in when I'm writing or even when I'm in pre-production and I'm setting up my scenes and like, breaking scenes down, I should say.
Yeah.
Um, Even when I'm editing too and post, like I have temp music and stuff. That was a part of my inspiration when
Yeah.
I was prepping. So,
Hmm. And explain, because you direct, you DP'd a lot, you edit, and I know on the last uh To Be original, you or the first Married to a Baller, you edited that yourself. So
Yeah.
explain like directing and then getting into the editing room. Do you need to take a step back before you go into that mode, or do you flow right into it? Like, how do you separate from like, pre-production, then we shoot it? And you didn't DP Married to a Baller, or
No,
you?
I did
Okay,
not.
okay. But did you DP River?
I did.
Okay, so let's use that one then, because you're directing and DPing. I want to talk about that for a second, because that, thank God for myself and my sake, I did not do that. I don't know how people would be able to handle that. Walk us through that. To being on a set, having to keep the direction in your head, but like managing all the light, controlling all the light, and crafting the image at the same time. But you got to work with the actors. How was your dance with that?
For me, when I like am behind the camera, it's just like an extension of myself. Like it's it just ran smoother because I knew what I wanted. I didn't have to say anything. I could just pivot the camera here and there when I needed to, and I already knew my actors blocking because we blocked everything, and I just was dancing with them essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I had such a supportive team, to be able to do both on River. I had my first AC, who's also an amazing DP. He's been working with me for a long time, so like he was right there with me, like operating B cam and also just making sure everything was set up so that I could just focus on DPing and directing. And he really had my back. His name is Bobby, and love him to death. And so like honestly, if you don't have a team around you, like a solid support system, it's not easy. Like I did, if I didn't have a solid gaffer, um, and a solid team, there was I would not have been able to do it. There was no
Mm-hmm.
way, like there's too many things pulling me in all directions. So honestly, I was fortunate to have, that's why you choose your team wisely, because you're going to battle together
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be bunkering in for a while. So like, choose those core people correctly because it will make or break you in the long run. And I'm not saying that to be rude, but it's just like it is true,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're choosing your producers, make sure you trust them because producers steal.
Yeah.
They cut corners. They like to cut corners. They try to do this and that. So like, and have your contracts in place. Like there's so many things that you should do, like friend or not,
Yeah.
like make sure you're all there together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wondering, so in pre-production on that project, especially because you're going to be DPing, I would imagine it's even more important having that plan, like with maybe this gaffer, making sure
Pre-production.
that
Yep.
he can maybe shape that light on set for you because you've communicated that vision, and then you can work with actors. Was that a lot of the dance there?
Yeah, absolutely. So like every morning, every location we went to, I got there even earlier. I walked everything by myself. I had drawn out a overhead plan of where I want lights to be and what inspired each thing. So I had it mapped out and printed for my gaffer and my grips and everybody so that they can see how I wanted things done. And then obviously they put their own creative flair on it. And then they would tell me, hey, Em, I think it would work better if we did it like this. So there was all of that too as well. It was very collaborative, but at the same time, like they knew what I wanted and they took it and ran with it and they put their own flair to it. And honestly, like even when I was filming and there was like something a little bit off, like my gaffer would be running there with a bounce board,
Mhm.
and like I'm
Yeah.
running over it and I didn't even have to say anything. So
That's cool. That's great because it's like you've communicated the vision so clear to them that they're seeing it when you're seeing it, and then they're on it. That's great. That's good teamwork right there.
yeah, it was.
Now contrast that with the Tubi original, the next feature where you have a DP and a lot more of that control. Talk about, I'm sure, a ton of pros, and then maybe even some cons of like, whoa, when I'm not DPing, there are limitations to that, right, with speed and stuff. So, what was that transition like?
Um, it was actually wonderful. I worked with Sam Brave. He's also a director DP. Um, him and I think very similar, so it was super easy working with him, and our workflow together just really meshed well. I didn't even have, I jumped on camera maybe a few times, but I honestly had no desire to be jumping on camera, which usually I would. I didn't know how I was
Mhm.
going to feel, to be honest. And I let him do his thing, and I trusted him, and we really prepped the movie prior to filming. And even with Married to a Baller, the sequel, I worked with Diana. And she's fantastic too, and she brings her own flair, but she understood what the style we were going for. And honestly, I love it. I love collaborating with other DPs. I love um talking shop with them and exploring the vision, and it's a blast. And I'm actually super happy and um just in this directing mode right now, and I don't really have desire to like jump back into a feature like DPing.
Nice, nice. No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I want to get back to the first film, and because in the indie film space, where you do have to wear all those hats to provide
Yeah.
those opportunities. I like what you were saying about writing the script, and I would imagine you were writing not just for like the location, but also like from the sense of what can be achieved. Like you're not writing just a story because it's great. You're like, I'm going to go film and direct this, so you have explain that because that's exactly what I did here for my first feature. Because it's like you're really just trying to give yourself the opportunity, which means you need a
Yeah.
script that you could actually go out and execute.
So for me, it's like, and I knew what the budget was and everything, so I had all of that into play with how I was going to film it. So I made it very contained. There was like 5 locations total throughout the whole movie. I just made sure everything was obtainable
Hmm.
because I wasn't going to go ahead and write this action-packed sequence with explosions, that
Yeah.
there's no way we could do that, you know?
Hmm.
So like I absolutely had everything in thought, when I was creating it because I wanted to make sure we would succeed.
Yeah, and would you say that's a mistake that a lot of this generation filmmakers are making is they're trying to, without any experience, right? Like have a script, have an idea that is probably way too big than which means, hey, it needs real money. And then even if your idea is great, like as you were alluding to earlier, they might like the idea if you're lucky, but then are they actually going to want you to direct it? And I see that as like, and then especially nowadays that things like River and like my film Ring of Fire coming are achievable now. I understand 15, 20 years ago, even your low budget film was going to be in the millions of dollars. Right. And now I
Yeah,
just think with technology, you can make, or at least this is what we're trying to do over here, make a $5 million movie for under 500,000 or something. Technology is allowing that to take place, and I just think you're a great example of what I've been trying to preach of like, guys, go find a way to make something because that's always going to be better than a great script that is going to sit on a shelf for decades potentially.
absolutely. I think that's what it was. Like I had the reason why too, like I hunkered down and was like, all right, I'm gonna do this river thing, right? Um, I was talking to this producer. She's like one of someone I really look up to. She's always working. Um, she gave me the advice, like, Emily, just do it. Do the feature. Do it. Like, what? Stop trying to wait for this project. Just go and do that project because
Hmm.
it's obtainable right
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah.
so that's the advice I took from her, and I did it.
Cool. One thing I also want to touch on too, because I don't know how big that budget was and like what you were feeling pressure on. Like, okay, did you, and because you were in complete control of that, I'm imagining you were heavily involved in the marketing and the distribution and the film's path after completion. Um, I would assume. So walk us through
Yeah.
that whole phase and like the pressures or stresses of that and navigating distribution. Were you thinking of any of that stuff prior to making the movie?
I was
Yeah.
already talking to distribution prior to making. My investors and I, we all openly had conversations. And then um, we went with Gravitas, but at the time we were talking to Vertical as well. Um, and, there's a lot of things I would say, but it's like, you know, um, because as far as marketing goes, they don't do marketing or anything like that.
Mm,
So I was posting things on TikTok, and there was a few things that were going viral from River, like hyping people up, and that really helped the push of the launch when the film dropped.
hmm.
And also the short film on Dust, it had like over 8 million views on
Wow.
so it was like that also pushed the feature because the feature came out a couple months after the short dropped.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. So a couple months after, because you were able to go shoot it and turn it around so fast, or you
Yeah.
held the
So
short until.
we shot the short in May. We popped it out into festivals, and by the time we finished the big festivals that we wanted to do, we ended up going on, like, Dust reached out, and Dust launched it in January of 2021.
Mm,
We filmed River the Feature September 2020. We finished post in December, like with everything was
yeah.
done by December. And so, as it was like almost around Christmas when the feature, like post everything was done. So then the short launched on Dust in January, and then we had offers, official offers by early February from the drop on Dust. And then we sold it, and then it came out of July of 2021.
Wow. That's so it's like they almost were able to use the short as promotion the way they kind of
Yep.
came out back to back. That's really cool. That you don't hear about that too often. That's really cool how that
Yeah,
kind of
that's how
ended up.
that all kind of played out.
Okay, so you like your proof of concept ended up almost being like pre-release marketing material. That's just so cool. I love that. I
Yep.
love that.
That's how that all kind of worked out for the feature because it was getting all the views on the short on Dust, and then that just amplified the feature when it
Yeah.
dropped.
And then okay, so then we come to the Tubi original, and like that's only going to be on one platform, so that takes care of a lot of like that stress. And it's a Tubi original, so you know they're going to put everything behind making it perform as well as they can on their platform. Were there any discussions about thresholds that needed to be met so that they
No,
could greenlight this sequel, or was that already just in there?
no. So honestly, what happened is we didn't have any marketing for the feature at all. And it went, um, when it launched, when it came out in November, it just because we didn't the only thing that was out publicly was the trailer, and that was right before the movie dropped, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um it hit number one overnight.
Wow.
Like, I can't even tell you. It just did. And then people, next thing I know, people on TikTok and everyone were doing clips and reviews, and then it
Mm,
went viral.
yeah.
So then it went across like a wildfire through all the social media platforms. And that's honestly, it was the audience that propelled that feature to where it became. And then in December, it came out the end of November. By mid-December, we were already in discussion for a sequel.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So so they were. Do you think they were already like planning to do a sequel, like even or hoping that would be the outcome, like even when they made the first one, or did they like?
So
Oh,
the first movie, the ending was a little different, and in editing, I changed it to have it open-ended in case we could do a sequel.
nice, nice. Okay.
And they're like, "Dang, that was smart." I was like, "You know what? I'm thinking outside the box."
Awesome, awesome. And you already shot the sequel.
Yep. The
Wow,
the film is done.
it's
Like,
done.
we just
Okay.
finished post
Wow, and it's
last
coming
week.
out when you
It's
said?
coming out either November or December. We're still waiting for the official drop.
Okay, so very soon here. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I know one of the important questions someone asked was just what's been your favorite kind of on-set filmmaking moment in your career?
Um, I don't know, like, a favorite moment other than just like kind of taking a beat and being appreciative and like having so much gratitude for, like, because I put my head down and I get us through the days. You know, we were shooting 10 to 14 pages a day, you
Yeah.
know,
Wow.
and it's like, and all I can think about is like, we have to get through the day, right? That's what happened in the first one. And then this one, I was like, I really took the moments to like pause and just be thankful
Mm.
that this is what I get to do. You know, like little Emily, when I was 6 years old, running around with my mom's camcorder, who dreamed about telling stories growing up, like I'm telling stories, you know?
Yeah.
And so I
Nice.
think for me, it's just that's my favorite moment is like watching my actors come to life, seeing the words come off the page. I love filming on set, but I love post. Like I love editing and being able to like really watch the movie come together. I shoot for
Hmm.
the edit. So everything I do, I shoot because I know what I need for the edit.
Yeah.
So that's how
No,
I
I
choose
heard a
to do
quote
it.
that was, I forget who it was, but someone's like, "Hey, we put up with the hell of the shoot to get to the joy of the editing room." And I know I'm definitely kind of one of those people. Sounds like you are too. So that's
It
cool.
is, it's a joy and also you cry. You know, like it's like there's moments like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, everything I did was epic, but you know, like you look at it and you go through the different phases of editing, right? You're like, oh God, I'm a hack. This is terrible. What did I do? Like, why did I do this? You know,
That
and
first
then
assembly, you're like, "Whoa."
you cry a moment. You take a minute, you cry, you process what you just did, and then you're like, okay, we can get through this together, you know?
Hmm.
And then my mental support group is there to help me and they're like, Emily, like it's going to be okay, you know? And then and then once you do a couple passes, you're like, all right, it's
Yeah,
coming together.
yeah. Wasn't it Scorsese said like if you don't get like physically ill when you see the first rough cut, then something's wrong, right? Like, so it's like,
Oh, physically ill, all right. You know, you're just like, what did I do? You know, and then even like Sidney Lumet, like making movies is like a book I recommend to anybody. And
mm,
it's just like he talks about you're lucky to even get 60 something percent of your vision out, you
yeah,
know, when you're
yeah.
making. And so like, I think that's so true too. And I was like, dang, I'm that hard on myself, right? Um, so I've been learning to kind of be like, all right, this is a part of the process. It's not going to be exact. I have to pivot. You have to learn. As long as you're keeping the integrity of the vision that you want and you still steer your team in a direction towards that goal, it's going
Hmm.
to be okay, you know?
Yeah, yep. No, I remember I told my team after we wrapped the feature, and I think this is a testament to like having, like you said, the right team members, the right collaborators. I was like, guys,
Yeah.
like this is like 85% right on vision, and the 15% that's not is actually because it's better because you guys did something better than I could have imagined, and like here we are. So, and I imagine some people are on the opposite end of that, right? Where it's like, oh, this is nothing on vision and it's bad. Thank God I haven't had to go through that yet. Knock on
Yeah,
wood.
no,
But
it's a part of your team and your process. I think being collaborative and having the right people there to have your back and to create something together is what makes it magical. And I've been very, you know, you too, like we're fortunate to be able to do that with the people that we really enjoy working with and
mhm.
have a good time with. And I mean, that's what filmmaking is about for me. Like I loved being in the woods with all my closest friends,
Yep.
camping out and barbecuing after set and like howling at the moon and then watching stars and like just random things. Like it was the best time. Like honestly, like I want to recreate that. I know I never will again. Like something
Right.
like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's a good story because I know one of the other questions that was also very good was like, hey, what was the hardest thing you've had to deal with as a filmmaker going through like a moment maybe you almost wanted to quit and then what got you through that hard time?
Okay. Well, so back to significance. There was a moment that about 12 years, no, 11 years ago, maybe. It was 10 or 11 years ago at this point. It's all so mushed together. Um, I did raise money to film, and we went to SuperCon in Miami. We were on panel with The Walking Dead and the cast from The 100, and we all went to dinner with the cast of The 100 and everybody, and we were just like, it was epic because this is based on a worldwide best-selling book series. So fans
Mhm.
came out for this and everything. It was pretty magical. And then, our investor was there with us. And then 2 months later, I mean, a month and a half later, I was on set for about almost almost a month, and my team was there, my two ADs, my DP, my gaffer, producers. Um, Everything was locked and loaded. Locations were all locked in. We finished casting everybody. Um, Everything was rolling in. Gear was being transported from LA to New Hampshire at the time, from Boston as well, and actors were supposed to fly in the next day. And all the money froze because the investor didn't pay his taxes correctly. And
Mm,
he was Canadian. And so everything froze. Um, Everything was shut down. I had to max out cards to get people home.
wow.
Um, that destroyed me. Um, Not because of like myself, but because I felt like I let my team down.
Yeah.
Like I had actors that were pretty big actors that like were supposed to go back to school because they wanted to go do some stuff, and they took a break from school to like be in the movie, and just like people put things on hold to be in the movie, and like the bigger actors even that we had too. It was just like so much. It was just like anything that could go wrong just literally crumbled, and there was nothing I could do about it at that time but watch it all happen, crash and burn. And I was devastated. That was one of the biggest uh breaks of my life. And I took a year off from being a filmmaker.
Hmm.
I got into actual started working with like NASA, doing like tech, like virtual reality kind of stuff. And again, I was talking about storytelling, and I'm like, I can't not do this.
Yeah.
So Shelley, the author of Significance, actually called me and was like, "Hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I think we should keep trying." And I was like, I was like, keep
PTSD.
trying. I was like, I don't know how much more I could try. So, but I'm glad I listened to her, and I think that was the moment, and I knew that no matter what, I couldn't walk away from this, and I came back. It was painful. I couldn't even say the word significance without like wanting to cry. And now I'm like, trials and tribulations. It's just a redirection.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's some of the hardest moments, like you look back and it's like, oh, that was the one of the best things that ever happened, or like it made me who I am. So yeah, but no,
Yeah,
I can't imagine. That's intense. Wow.
that was soul crushing for sure.
But then here we are, and it's all working out. And well, we
Yeah.
can wrap it there. I don't want to keep you too long. An hour is plenty. But we really appreciate you coming on and telling your story. And where tell us the films again, rehash it, where they can find them, and where people
Yeah.
can find you.
So Married to a Baller is on Tubi. It's a Tubi original film. And River is on Apple TV and Amazon. Basically, any Roku, you could Google
Okay.
it. It comes on. But I would say River, Emily Skye, because there's also a TV series called River.
Mm,
Um, and then, yeah, you could find me She Wolf Films on Instagram or TikTok. Pretty current on all those pages, up to date on things that I'm doing. And then I'll be announcing soon, once tells us when we're dropping the sequel. Um, but yeah, that's it, pretty much.
awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emily. This was amazing, and I hope we can continue being in touch.
Yeah.
Talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. You're awesome. And I look forward to seeing your project and
Oh,
what you
thank
all
you.
put together. And it's cool that we saw each other in St. Pete. St. Pete's doing some great stuff. Like
Yeah,
Tony
there.
and everyone is really, I had a blast at that festival. It was
Yeah,
so
no, that was
good.
so fun.
It
I
was
think
so
I'll be
good.
seeing you at some more this year in
Yeah,
years
I'm
to come.
definitely going to
So
be coming back out, and we'll be going back to St. Pete for the festival next year too, for sure.
okay,
So thank you so much. And
yeah, thank you.
happy, what day is it today? Thursday.
Thursday. Yep,
Thursday.
almost there.
Thank
Awesome.
you. All
Thanks again, Emily.
right,
Talk
thank you.
soon.
Bye.